Welcome to the Evergreen Creative Company podcast. We like to call it the Evergreen Creative Podcast. It's a little bit shorter to say, but our main goal for this podcast is to share our experiences as a company through the projects that we work on a weekly basis. Whether you're a client or another creator, you're going to get to hear our experiences from each project that we work on. So if you find value from this podcast, please leave a review and also share this with your friends and colleagues. So welcome to the Evergreen Creative Podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Houston.
I'm Hannah.
I don't know if we introduced ourselves last time or not. We just kind of get in.
I think
we
did.
Okay.
We talked for about 20 minutes before we did that.
Yeah, we're like, let's take care of business. All right, so we had this summer has flown by. I didn't think it was gonna be like I knew we were gonna have projects that would come up, but it has just been
Somehow school's already back.
crazy. Yeah, we were just talking about it. It feels like we didn't do enough fun stuff during
Have
the
your
summer.
kids gone back to school?
They go back next week.
Okay.
So they start a little bit later than most schools, which I'm a fan of anyways. Like Victory, they like the concept of not bogging the kids down with so much school. Like there's a lot that you can take care of in a strategic amount of time versus just, obviously it's a whole different scale though too. So anyways, yeah, we need to, Kristen sent a text like, we haven't done enough fun stuff this summer. I'm like, yeah, it just kind of went by really fast, but also just thinking about part of the reason is just we've been so stinking busy. It's been just one thing after another. It's been hard to slow down, which is fine. It's good. It's a good problem to have, but yeah, we need to figure out something fun to do. With speaking of fun though, we did have a good time this weekend at the Yard Party for Arts at the Wiregrass Museum of Art here in
Tell us
Dothan.
about it.
It was the first, as far as like our involvement, it ended up being twofold because, and I'll get into both reasons, but the first main reason was because like if you've listened to our stuff or if you've seen our posts, we've done like a soft release of what we're calling the Evergreen the Evergreen Photo Bus. And like we did a soft reveal at our open house, and that was, a big hit during that part. And then obviously it caught wind and stuff like that. So the art museum, they brought back their Yard Party for Art this year. They haven't had it since 2019 because of all the COVID stuff that's been going on the last few years. And so they caught wind of what our bus was, and they were like, hey, do you want to come be part of the event as a vendor kind of stuff? I was like, 100%, because like that, I couldn't think of a better way to introduce or, just get it out there kind of thing. So it gave us a timeline, a goal to get things done. And so I would say like the bus is like 95% just ready. Like we can make everything happen. We made it happen for like Saturday and stuff. Like there's just some cosmetic things and a couple mechanical things we got to work out, but it's still functional enough to get things done. But like it was, I think, a huge hit. For one, we were able to set it up to where we could have the full functional photo booth. People got prints, they got the digital copies and things like that too. And like the thing that I loved about it the most was like it literally brought so many smiles to people's faces. Like it was like in so much negative stuff that goes on every single day, it's like people, like they would walk up to you and just see them light up. And then also just photo booth kind of stuff, period, is fun. So people are making funny faces, they're goofing off, they're like letting themselves go a little bit, just, relaxing and have a good time kind of stuff.
For the fun of it.
So like that was my favorite thing about it. Like we do fun stuff, we get to do some really cool things, but like that side of it was just a different experience for the company to where just literally brought something to help people smile. So that was pretty cool.
It's nice to see the tent pop up.
Yeah, that was neat. People are like, so have you gone camping in it yet? And all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, it's too hot for that.
We just jerry-rigged this thing together last week.
Right. So it's like, we've only had it for since June?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we got it right before the open house.
Right. It was just enough to clean it up and
toss that.
Here, don't look at everything yet. But yeah, so we've only had it since June. Definitely too hot to go camping, but once it cools off, that's top priority. Like we are going to the hills. And so yeah, I thought it was a big huge success. I think the art museum said there's about over 500 people that showed up.
Nice.
So, great exposure, great way for at least the bus to get out there and kind of show what the possibilities are. We got, some soft leads with like booking and things like that. So obviously that was a big reason to show up, is try to get bookings. I think one solid lead for some sort of photo shoot this on Saturday. One of the main artists that was there, Simone French, she is interested in doing a photo shoot with the bus in Enterprise.
Nice.
So like that should be pretty cool. And what else? I think there's like a Halloween party that someone's interested in getting that done, and then just some other general interest as well. We also sold, we have some merch. So we got shirts and stickers. So that was cool. We sold some shirts, and the promo was if you got a shirt, you got a sticker. So got that kind of stuff. What else? We'll have to figure that part out though.
Megan, did you want a free shirt?
We talked to her this weekend about how she's the podcast's #1 fan.
Yeah. She thought it was really funny. She was like, I listened. It was really funny.
It's like she might feel obligated to listen now.
Probably.
Maybe we have to guilt people
That's
into
okay.
watching and listening.
That's okay. That's how you get started. Well, isn't that how
We're just networking. That's all it is.
Isn't that how anything gets started?
Manipulation. But other good things from the and like this almost could be a sub point to a topic we could talk about, is like ways to grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got to be out in the community and doing stuff. And so like not only was I able to obviously promote the bus, but since we have Evergreen Creative Company doing video production and photography stuff, like I was able to talk to some people about that line of work, and having my digital business card ready, like they just tap my wallet sticker thing, whatever it's called. And so it's like, it's literally one of the best ways to grow a business is to actually be out in front of people. It's, just one of the, I would say the main marketing strategies. Like there's a lot of digital ways to do stuff. There's all kinds of ads that you can do, but being out in front of people, I think, is one of the best ways. That, and it's like Push Crank Press was out there too. So they had a VR headset kind of thing that they put together.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's really neat. Like they put a custom world together for the art party. And so they came over, their whole crew got photos in the bus and all that kind of stuff afterwards. Normally whatever event we're at, we're saying our goodbyes, hey, good to see you kind of stuff. But we ended up talking to Push Crank Press like for a solid 15-20 minutes afterwards. And again, it's like, we work on projects with other companies. They're one of them. We work a lot together with various different organizations. And it's like keeping those relationships going, that networking and so forth. And it's not like even we're not talking to them because like, hey, we want to do business, like make sure we're doing business kind of like ulterior motives kind of thing. It's like we generally just like working with them. And so like keeping those genuine relationships going as a business is pretty key and vital. So yeah, the art party, it was great in a lot of different ways. And the second part of it was the art museum talked to us about doing an updated what they call communications video. So basically
That's right, you were
just
telling me.
An overview of what they offer, what the museum looks like, things like that. They really liked the one that we did a couple of years ago with them. I thought it was a pretty good project too. And so part of some of the shot list was the art party. One, because it's been 3 years since we've had the last one. So having some updated footage and having that as part of what we can add to it. So that was the other part. So I was like every 30 minutes going around getting footage, B-roll, stuff like that. And then Kristen, she was operating the photo booth and doing that side of stuff, and we'd swap out. And yeah, it was a good time. It was, I think we were there from 5 o'clock until officially 10:30.
Oh, wow.
But then we ended up talking to some other people, some folklore people.
Keep punching this table on accident.
But yeah, like even then, like so Jeremy from folklore and then some of his other workers, like people that we know but haven't seen them in a while. Like different industry, but it's like Jeremy was like, if you have some sort of promotion or if there's like a special cause kind of thing or whatever, set up the bus out at Folklore and, charge a certain whatever, and then a percentage goes to whatever cause. And so it's like, yeah, 100%. Like I'm all for that kind of stuff. So, again, just more opportunities. And he's got a creative mind. Hannah's about to just go. She spits coffee one time. She's going to snot rocket everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, so, Jeremy's the kind of person that he's going to think some creative ideas did. I mean, it's going to promote his stuff, promote our stuff. So yeah, and Folklore is like my brew. Like that's their Snipe Hunt IPAs, my go-to drink if I want to grab a beer kind of thing. So yeah, win-win for everybody.
I just have to try to separate our experience at that jazz festival.
Literally.
Yeah.
Those drunk people dancing out there, and they're like doing all this stuff, and he's and are just like, all right.
Like, we didn't realize how cold it was gonna be out here.
I know, literally. I was wearing like a thin jacket, and I don't have a lot to keep me warm, so I was miserable.
Just so interesting.
And then it was like country
group
music, and I hate country music, so I'm cold. There's country music, and there's a bunch of drunk people around me.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't jazz.
stupid.
It was folk. It was a folk thing.
Yeah.
But it was more country.
Well,
than
it was
folk.
It was weird.
It was a jazz festival thing or some sort of jazz organization.
It was like the first half of the day was like folky stuff, and then towards the end, like the last two bands were more like bluesy rock kind of thing.
And there was this guy who came up to us at the beginning and was like, what are y'all filming, whatever? And we were like, we don't really know, like we're just handing it over, whatever. And he's like, well, that's great, like this is important. And he's like going on about all this stuff, whatever, and we're like, okay.
We don't know what it is, but I mean it's important to you, so it's important to us. So yeah, I think that was pretty much the weekend. There was like Kristen did some other real estate type shoots, so that was in and out kind of stuff.
I have been seeing, I don't know if you've been seeing the stuff that Brandon's been posting on Facebook. He's been doing a lot of real estate stuff. Like he got hooked up with a local.
Yeah, he's been sending me texts to links of some of the stuff that he's been working on.
He got hooked up with a local real estate company. Like I know a bunch of the people that work there, so I'm glad he's plugged into there because they're doing really well for themselves. But he's been doing these like 3D models
tours,
of the house. And I was like, I've never seen anyone do that.
I've seen it a few times. I want to say there was a company, I don't know if they still do it here in Dothan, but when Mural City first got all put together, they did a whole 3D like tour content, whatever. I don't know what you call it, just 3D.
I don't even know how you begin to put that kind of thing together.
Kind of thing. Yeah, it's a particular camera. They're not cheap, and it just takes 360 photos of each room and stuff.
I guess he's making enough money doing real estate
it all together.
I'll afford it.
Well, he has so
neat.
much equipment anyway. He could have sold some of it too.
Maybe too. Yeah.
But I mean, I think if you build a reputation, be the one that has that, and if nobody else has it around you, like I would say,
nobody in that area was even close to doing like real estate photography in general, like we do for stuff. Like he's the only person in that area who's tapped into that market.
So,
yeah, even with his wedding stuff, he's got like the books that have the screen in it, whatever. And like that's not something that I care about, but like
nobody in our area does stuff like that.
That is different.
Say our area, my hometown.
Yeah.
I haven't lived there in years.
I've seen this before. I've tinkered with the idea of using it. It's interesting, but I don't know. To me, like it degrades the quality so much that I'm like, and the sound is not good at all. So, and we depend on, if it's just music in the background kind of video, sure. But with all the stuff that we try to incorporate.
It's a cool little keepsake, but you're going to watch it on
well, that's
your
the
computer
struggle
or your
with
phone.
The video side of stuff. It's like when you're, I guess we can segue into like the wedding videography stuff. It's like there's not a lot of tangible stuff you can just put in your hand on the video side.
It's not like photography where it's like you'll print something out and
print it
have it
out,
hanging in your
photo
house for
book.
30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even just with the transition of technology, it's like a lot of people, you know, even 5 years ago, maybe even to today, they're like expect DVDs and such
Yeah.
or Blu-rays. And it's like we did for a little while, but like that technology just isn't supported as much just to create it.
That was a big roadblock we kind of encountered doing like all the pageant stuff is for the entirety of the time that I was there until like I took my break and like COVID happened and stuff, and then we came back just for a summer run. All that stuff was put on DVDs so that way you could put something tangible in their hands when they left to be like, here is the product that you paid for. But it was like the overhead that it took to like buy DVDs, DVD cases, get somebody to design the inserts, print the inserts.
You have to put them in both sides. You've got to write on all the DVDs, whatever. And then when the final show is over, like James would have to come run in there with the master and you'd have to copy like 50 DVDs right there as people are coming up to you wanting their stuff and like stick it in there, hand it to them. Like it was a crazy process.
I can imagine doing that on the spot like that.
It was very stressful, especially when Susan would leave me and then I was just up there alone doing all of it.
Right.
So for that entire time that I was there, I'm like, you got to switch to an all digital model. And they never did. But then I came back and then it was all digital. So I was like, I guess somebody finally got it in their mind to do it, because I'm like, I know you're making a ton more money now because you were spending so much money to get cases, DVDs, DVD labels,
and now I gotta
DVD
just
inserts.
upload a file.
Yep.
That's
well,
it.
a lot of
they have like a whole like cloud server like
Mm-hmm.
thing that it just like every time something gets uploaded throughout the entire week that we're there, then it just like pushes it straight to their
a
emails.
lot of their processes anyway were just, I mean, I don't know how they are now, but there was like a lot of work for nothing, like on all the back end stuff, having to put everyone's information in and everything along with all the DVDs and all stuff. I was like, it's just wasting my time that I could be doing other things, doing all this. So
you have to have a dedicated team just to do that.
I kept talking to Susan. I was like, you have got to simplify this somehow because this is crazy.
And they did, and it's much easier, and I'm sure they're making a crap ton more money now.
Right. So one client that comes to mind with Santa's Workshop, which used to be Patty Brother and Jazz, now it's Alabama Dance Works. Like we started out the DVD side of stuff because like they would make DVD sales kind of thing. And it just got like 3 years into it. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I wasted so much time just to get it to work, and it just doesn't, it's not even supported.
There's
anymore.
not even like softwares that support making DVDs anymore. Like we had to use like a cracked copy of like an old Adobe software to even make DVDs.
And that's what you see in the forums all the time. It's like you have to just basically go back to like 10-year-old version of such and such software.
No, it wasn't that. It was an old Apple software called DVD Studio.
But there is an Adobe one that gets brought up a lot too. So but back to the point,
never
it's
update
like
that computer.
Yeah, exactly. Or like turn off automatic updates or whatever. Yeah, it's just crazy. So back to those books and stuff, it's like on the videography side of stuff, as far as weddings go, like there's not much that you can do as far as here's a tangible thing. Some people, they do like these gift box like sets, to where like there'll be a flash drive with the content on it along with some other like goodies. So that's like almost, unless if there's some other ideas that someone potentially might speak up.
It's an interesting dynamic with video too, having to not having like a physical product like that. Because even like back to like DVDs and stuff, it's like how many people do you know that like just have a DVD player in their house today?
It's
really, or even like a Blu-ray player.
So
but then a lot
Nobody,
of older people, even whenever we weren't really doing DVDs anymore at JC Productions, if an older person came up to me and was like, we want a DVD, Susan would be like, just say yes.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of times what they want.
So something that we learned from like the Santa's Workshop crew and crowd. Yeah. It's unknown number, so it's go to voicemail. So one of the feedbacks that we got, one of the reasons why some of the parents like DVDs is because they have DVD players in their cars. And so they'll put the DVD in their car so their kid can watch it on like the back screen, like the headrest thing, or like those drop down screens in some vans and SUVs.
It's interesting.
So I was like, okay, I can see that. And like they would want sometimes more than one copy because, you know, DVDs will get scratched up at, you know, some point. But yeah, we got to the point where it's like there's a lot of digital options. That what sucks about the digital side of stuff though is like there's so many, you have to do so many subscriptions. Like there's not just like this one-time fee kind of thing. So that part kind of gets aggravating. So like
it's
our
only
company,
gotten worse too.
like even with our, like I would love to get to a point where we could justify having a monthly service like that, but like we don't have that right now. Like it's a goal of mine, like to be able to, and if you're listening like corporate wise, or if you're a creator of some sort, or have some sort of teaching material, like we want to do workshops and such. And so if we can build up like that kind of stuff, I mean, record and basically go 50-50 on the earnings. So like that's a way to, we can go into that whole idea, but back to wedding videography. But like we want to talk about the photography side of stuff anyways, but like with photography, there's a lot of tangible stuff that you can get, all kinds of prints. Like it's almost limitless of the possibilities of what
you get like prints to hang in the house. People will like put their pictures on mugs and stuff.
Houston and I, like whenever we have kids and whatever, we want to document like childhood and all the stuff with film because it just holds up so well. I mean,
we've talked about this.
And so obviously it's so different for video because everything is like on an iPhone or whatever. But you know, in 30-40 years, like what is all that gonna look like? Right.
I think there's a very solid argument with being able to print stuff off. We have so many digital files that it's so easy to get even lost in that regard. Like even like trying to find wedding videos or photos and like early childhood stuff from our kids. Like you have to dig that stuff up. But like if you have an album somewhere, it's going to hold up a lot more. Plus just also there's just something about, you know, putting your hands on like a product like that.
Like I think we had definitely talked about this on the podcast last time we talked about this, where like we were trying to find like all these early childhood photos of all of like me and my siblings. It's like me and my sister, like we got stacks of photo albums like prints, and then we have like a book with all the negatives and stuff of like all those things. But then you get to like any of my brothers born past the year 2000, and then it's like there's just like a weird gap where it's like maybe there's a few photos that were still taken on film, and then obviously we get into like when they start taking pictures on like iPhones and stuff, but there's like a weird gap where it's like these were taken on a digital camera and put somewhere, and nobody knows where they are. So
and it's like you have to keep up with those files. Like you got to know where everything's at. But it's like that big huge what if your account gets deleted? What if a server goes bad somewhere and
your hard drive crashes in an old laptop or something?
So like there's all
that happened to
what
me.
ifs.
I went to Italy and I videoed the entire trip to make a video for it, and I put it all on my laptop, and I honestly have no idea where the memory card went. Like it must have fallen out of my backpack or something. And then I was sitting in class one day and my computer just shut off and they had to wipe the hard drive. So all of my footage from Italy is gone.
Wow. That's
and I was there for like 2 weeks. All over Italy. All of it is gone. And I was like, are you kidding? So that's like another, even like video cameras from early 2000s, 90s, whatever. Even those have held up better than some digital things.
Right.
I got a box of stuff I got to convert to digital that my dad gave me, like VCR, mini DVD, VHS tapes that I got to figure out some way to digitize. But
there's a few things you can get. It's like basically RCA stuff, but you got to have
with the camcorders, it's
you
a
have
little
to have the VCR set.
With the camcorders, it's easy because I have the camcorder. I just put the mini DV tape in, and then like you get the connections, and then something plugs in the computer. Those are easy. It's the VHS tapes that are going to be.
You have to have the actual player connect to it. And
see,
go to a thrift store, find one for $1.
We have a VHS player, and so all of the little tapes from our camcorder, they go in a VHS tape, and then we watch them.
What's funny, speaking of tape, it's like you can almost tell someone's age when they said, "Are you going to tape this?" It's like, it's funny. Yeah, I grew up on that whole transition of VHS to DVD to Blu-ray and digital. So it's pretty interesting to see that transition.
Had all the Disney movies on VHS, and then
Yeah, I mean,
around the time Finding Nemo came around, it was like, we're getting this on DVD.
Yeah, I remember his big deals back then. But like one of the things that I appreciate about it's a never ending or changing, like trying to figure out the best combinations to take care of our clients kind of stuff. But like on the photography side of stuff with the digital and print options, I really like the setup that we have right now. Like we send the client this link, it has all the digital copies, but then like there's options to print as well. So it's like you're not necessarily locked into certain kinds of prints. There's just like whatever this company offers, that you can basically get a print of that, whether it's an album, full size portrait of some
Love
sort.
those little albums that we have.
Yeah,
in the
the
office.
photo books.
The photo books are great. So it's been really cool to see that side of stuff, to where it's like, some photographers, it's not necessarily a bad business model. It's not in that kind of light or tone, but it's like they have like print only options, and I get that. But like I feel like in today's world, you need to have digital plus something tangible, something printed out. At least get like if talking about wedding photography in I guess specifically in general, that get the best photos, like your highlight ones. At least print those off. Get that kind of stuff, and then maybe just do some cheap prints of like all the candid kind of stuff, like your reception moments or whatever, because just having those, again, being able to flip through those, having those as keepsakes, it's really nice. Gurgles.
No.
Stop. So we've been going on for about 28 minutes. So to wrap up this conversation, like obviously I think one of the best on the photography side of stuff, you need to get digital plus prints. It's worth the investment. Just go ahead and do it. But leading up to the wedding, there's some some tips that we could talk about that helps the whole day go smoother. And some of the tips that we will talk about now are related to what you can do with videography too, or at least some of the principles. Again, the more that you can do before the wedding, the better. So there's bridal sessions, there's engagement sessions. And so like things like that, it takes the stress off the day. You don't have to worry about getting as many photos done and all that kind of stuff. But then sitting down, like timeline management, I think is one of the biggest things. And it's communication, all those kind of things kind of fall under the same umbrella. So it's like we require, if you have a planner, and if you don't have a planner, whatever, whoever is making those kind of decisions, like we need to all sit at the table and go over the timeline together, because there's going to be different elements that are important to photography, to hair and makeup, when the officiant arrives, when the details are going to be in place, all this kind of stuff. It's like Tara's Temptations over here. She goes off the timeline of what is sent to the bride. Like she doesn't necessarily say like I need to be at a certain point. She goes off the timeline, so she knows when to drop the kickoff. So that way she's not interfering with, such and such. And so like even the cake decorator, like the baker, providers, things like that, catering.
Everybody relies on that timeline.
Exactly. And so but I will say like the photographer and the planner, and then like close second will be the videographer, is going to need to have like a solid timeline in place. So that way, because we're going to spend the most time with the couple, and that's a fact. Like nobody else on the wedding planning or vendors, I should say, or even family or friends are going to spend as much time with the couple as the photographers or videographers. And so I like to, whether we're doing photography or videography or both and or either kind of stuff, we're all at the table going over the timeline, because we're able to communicate all the important stuff that matters to making it a successful day, making it smooth, as stress-free as possible. You lay out all the expectations. It's like on the video side of stuff, if we're not the photography team, like that's my chance to communicate to the photographer, whether we've worked with them or not, like these are the things that matter to us as a videographer. Yeah. If you heard that, there's a story behind it. So that's not our tone though. We've been approached at times, like literally was told to stay out of the way. So that's not our approach. Our approach is to talk about stuff beforehand, like we're saying. So that way we can say like, okay, during these moments, like we need quiet. Like we can't have a camera shutter going crazy. We can't have flash popping, like letters, all the audio elements, first looks, all that stuff like is so important to the video side of stuff. And it's even like, it's even with the, like, just to give an example, let's say the first look, we're not moving around much at all. Mm-hmm. Like we are finding like a central spot to where we can see the bride and groom's face, and one's wide, one's tight, close-up shots, kind of stuff like that, or one's got a different focal length. And we stay put, like we don't move at all, because if you're outside, depending on the time of year, like fall or winter, like that grass is crunchy. You got leaves like everywhere. So it's like just that movement around there can be, one, is disturbing to the clients, like the bride and groom. Like we're trying to not only be quiet for the audio side of stuff, but we're also trying to not be interfering with their moment. So it's like a first look, I would say potentially, other than the vows, saying I do is probably one of the most important parts of the whole day. It's like, it's their first intimate moment together, to where, seeing each other for the first time on their wedding day kind of stuff. And so it's like, we're not trying to interfere with that moment. We're trying to not be a fly in the wall, but not be disturbing. Yeah. And so it's like, it's important. Like I would say, like on the photography side of stuff, like we got to the point, like, yes, we can do some stuff as a solo shooter, but we need an assistant. So it's like, that's where an assistant comes in. It's where like, you don't have to move around to get all the angles. You can have a second shooter getting the other side or something, or whatever angle that you want to get. And, even on the photography side of stuff, it's like, we're almost like in a little huddle, to where we're just like this paparazzi line ready to shoot and not disturb the couple. Yeah. Because like you can mock up a lot of stuff too. And so it's like, if you need that angle of them reading, just do that afterwards. Like you can do that over the shoulder shot, whatever you want to do. It helps out a ton just with that side of stuff.
If Justin Porter and the photographers that he works with at his weddings can make it happen, anybody can. Also, this dude's slapping headsets on photographers.
Also, like communication with a photographer beforehand, especially if we don't. Way. Yeah, because I mean, we've gotten to weddings where the photographer has like knows the couple or something and has been like, oh, I don't have a schedule, or has completely changed the timeline and is like, oh yeah, we moved everything up by an hour. Yeah. And if we don't know that, especially if there's like different locations, like people are getting ready at different locations and all this stuff, that's very stressful to get there and it be a situation where we have absolutely no control and we don't even know what's going on, because it's nothing like the timeline at all.
Yep, 100%. And even like, so it feels weird at times, and it still feels weird because we just started out with the video side of stuff with the company, that when we just do photography and then there's a different videographer, it feels weird for one, because it's just like, I'm not used to being on that side of the table. But knowing that we know video, we know what's important, at least to us. So it's like, we're communicating with that videographer and saying, it's like, let me know what you need, so that way I'm not in your way. Or, if there's a way that I can help you and stuff like that too, like, let me know. And so that way we're all like, that day, in my opinion, like if at all possible, we're all trying to work as one team, even if we're different companies. And, but trying to do that on the wedding day and trying to establish that on wedding day, it's an uphill battle. You can get there, but it's so much better if you already have that rapport built beforehand.
Especially if the couple knows the photographer better than they know you, whatever. And so there's like, they already have that thing there where, and especially if the photographer is like very like dominant in choosing stuff, whatever. Yeah, it can just create some unnecessary tension that could have been completely worked out in the first place.
Exactly. And it's like, it kind of to your point with like some photography teams that we've worked with, like they do have that dominant personality. They're used to like taking charge of the whole day kind of stuff. And if we didn't have those prior conversations before, like even with that, you know, and I'm thankful for them stepping in and be like, hey, they made sure I was taken care of. Mm-hmm. Like they made sure that one, that they said like, all right, team, like let's be quiet for the video kind of stuff. Like this person, that person, like they shushed them instead of me having to speak up and say something. So it's like, it comes across a lot better from your own team than from someone else. So yeah, those prior conversations and like I said, those timeline meetings, like that's the best time to get all that kind of stuff out, whether it's in person or phone call, video chat, whatever it is. Being able to just list out those different, like these are the elements that are important to me. This is how we're going to do. Also, it's like just ceremony time. Like where's everybody going to be set up at? Are you the style that likes to be up front when they start walking in, or do you like to be in the back? On the video side of stuff, I normally just try to basically shadow what the photographer does, unless it's just I know I can't get a good shot or what I need for whatever. But regardless, like I'm going to communicate what my intentions are. Obviously, sometimes things change in the moment. You're just going to have to roll with the punches at times. But like for the most part, like I'm trying to communicate that kind of stuff so that way everybody's, again, it's not constantly butting heads or potential issues.
And you can cut this part out, but like whenever I have a camera on a tripod and it's set up in one spot the entire ceremony and the photographer just wants to come stand in front of the camera and take photos, and it's like I'm in one spot.
How many times that's happened.
I'm in one spot. Like I'm not moving. There's a tripod up. Like could you not even move to the left a little bit?
But so, I don't know. We could cut that part out or not. I don't know.
Could leave it in.
It doesn't matter.
To bring about Justin Porter kind of stuff, I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings either. But they use these basically broadcast comms. And he's talked about in some of his TikTok videos about how he'll actually give it to the photographer so that way they can be in communication with each other without being interruptive of the ceremony or reception or whatever else moment that they're trying to record.
When that guy comes in there, he has a presence. Like his team shows up big time to shoot weddings.
But so like one of the points that he made, like bringing a photographer this comms, and they said like the photographers love it because let's say you're in the ceremony and photographer's in the shot. It's like, hey, can you duck down for a second so I can get this one shot? Or vice versa. It's like if the videographer's in the shot, photographer will be like, hey, can you move over to the left a little bit? Or I'm going over this way, or, you know, just things like that. You can communicate without being disturbing or just hope for the best. Like, I know like during the whole time, like if I'm operating, like my head is on a swivel because I'm like, I'm trying to see what's going on. I'm trying to make sure I'm not in the way of something. But also it's like, if there's, let's say I'm on a gimbal or you're on the tripod and I'm like, you need to get the groom's face or something like that. Or it's like, because sometimes like they don't turn around or like they're just like we try to anticipate stuff and sometimes you can't work out all those details before. And I'm like looking over like, please make eye contact with me. Please make eye contact with me. You know, and I tell the team, I'm like, make sure you're looking at me like every like 15, 30 seconds because more than likely I'm going to try to give you some sort of hand signal to do something.
Not a bad idea to use live production headsets because it kind of is a live production.
Well, and like even like during a reception, if you're shooting something and all of a sudden speeches are happening and you're like, oh, like also, I don't know if you know this, but Justin Porter follows Houston on Instagram.
Nice. Shout out to, so you need to share this on your Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And tag him.
Yeah. That'd be fun to get him on the podcast.
Do a micro video and then tag him. Put it on your story.
We need help, Justin. We're trying to get this podcast going.
We're just trying to be like you.
No.
We all need to go to the gym first.
I got the ball part down though.
Just shovel a little more protein powder in before I can get to that level.
It's fun watching his TikTok stuff with he gets all geeked out about gear and stuff. And
I saw one the other day.
Oh, this
he
is
had
it.
he had ordered
This is it.
he had ordered something, yeah, from like it was like a tilt of something, and he came in the door and like peeked his head in, and his wife was standing there recording. He's like, "This is it. This is the last thing, I promise."
And so they did a montage of
That's
that.
all the
One of
times
them,
he
so
said that.
"This is
That's
it."
you.
And I was like, so Kristen looked, I showed her the video because I thought it was comical because of the, I can relate. And so what was my response? Or her response was like, oh, we should be set for a while. Like that's it statement. We should be set for a while. We got this. We shouldn't need anything else for a while.
I know, but
Today,
still.
I need to, tomorrow I'll bring it into the office because I only got the light. The rest of the stuff comes in today, that little Godox light.
Right.
It's crazy how small that thing is.
I've
and
already
how,
recommended
right.
it to somebody. I had a consultation for someone that should be on the podcast, I think, next week as a guest. And she's starting her own podcast. And so she's savvy enough to get going, put it that way. But I was like, okay, so you're going to want to invest in audio and lighting because she's going to do video, but she wants a mobile setup. So I'm like, that light that Houston was talking about would probably be a perfect solution to that, being that it's so small.
Because like if you
and
can
it's affordable
find,
too.
yeah,
like
if
it's
you
not
can,
a lot of money.
if you can find it on sale, like I did at B&H, I mean, you can get the light and a soft box for like $150.
Yeah, that little diffuser that goes on it, like I'm interested in that.
But
I might end up getting that too, but I just got the regular soft box. But I'll bring it to the office tomorrow because I got the light itself and plugged it up with just like the regular reflector, and I was very impressed at how powerful it was.
That's cool.
But it's
And
like
it's literally like the size of this cup.
it's like all
crazy.
the time because obviously we're going to Albania next month, so I'm like, we need to save money and stuff for going there. We're going to Austria first and all this stuff. And he informs me the other week, I actually have to spend like $600 more on a camera cord. And I was like, okay. But I'm very understanding about it. And, investing in himself. I'm very understanding about it. But like just now him being like, I may still get the softbox after saying like,
It's
this is all,
$30.
I have all the stuff I need. Or
I won't get it before
It's
we
like you
go.
get into
but
it,
here's
though,
the
you're
thing:
like,
you're like, oh, I needed this little camera card. Oh, I had to get this little $30. That adds up, and you do that all the time.
Welcome to
that's-
what's going to be the rest of our lives.
You're like, that's just a little.
It's never ending.
He'll like order something else will come in the mail, and I'm like, what else did you order? He was like, oh, it's just $15.
I ordered so much stuff we had to go to studio. My bedroom was
all this behind you.
uh,
Yeah, but it's pretty impressive. So once I get the softbox today, I'll bring it to the office tomorrow. We'll
that'd be cool. I'd like to see it.
test it out. I am curious about the little jelly diffuser things.
Yeah, it looks like it compacts down into like a pancake.
Mm-hmm.
And like travel wise, I think that'd be perfect. But with that consultation, I was just telling her, it's like if you're gonna want to try to be mobile, you're not gonna want to have to try to bring a ton of gear. You can get these LED lights, panels, and stuff like that too. But I thought that would be a better solution to put off better light than some of these LED panels. And just with the size of it, I was like,
I know I
Might as
was
well.
so
Perfect
impressed with how
because
small it
obviously
was.
everything that he has to bring is gonna have to be in a carry-on.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I ain't checking nothing.
I
So
remember
he
doing a whole
got, like,
production from a
small
Pelican
light.
case, and that's tough.
yeah,
That
he's gotten
little-
like small lights, small drones, small.
The Pelican that we have like all the cords in, like that
Right.
size Pelican, that's what I'm taking, and I have to fit
Oh wow.
everything in that.
Yeah, that's tough.
So also like we're checking our bags and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
I might have no clothes on me, so I hope all my
like,
bags make it.
Well, whenever we're going to Austria, like obviously we're gonna have clothes. So I'm like, I guess I'm just gonna be packing your clothes and my stuff.
But when you travel as two, like that's a good strategy to have though, because if you're just one person, like that was tough. Like, was it 2 years ago? I was going out to California for the auto return project. So I was rolling around the bigger Pelican case, and that had like, the stands, cables, all that kind of stuff. But I kept on me a camera bag, which had the cameras, lenses, batteries, SD cards, that kind of stuff, to where I was like, even if that Pelican case doesn't make the trip, I still have all that and I can make something happen. So you have that. But then I also had like my backpack, my other backpack, to where I had like my laptop and then some of those other kind of just knick-knack kind of stuff. And then I checked my suitcase for clothes. So, and then trying to have to haul around all that. That's one person that sucks.
Like, I guess I'll keep like an extra set of clothes in like her bag or something, but like all my clothes and everything that isn't camera related is getting checked. So I have to just hope it makes it.
Thankfully, my mom is going too. So like we can all work together to get all the camera equipment and clothes for you.
Yeah. And
I'll keep your toothbrush in my bag.
Because I'll have to put a light stand and a tripod in my suitcase.
These black ones are perfect size for that stuff, for lights.
Yeah, I ordered one of those. One of those the reverse leg ones. I ordered one of those. I have one of those coming in today.
It's like, I think I got something like that, and then...
Because it's like that light weighs like 1.5 pounds without the softbox. So like that thing can handle it easy.
I think the first one I got was for that trip because I was like, I need something that just compacts down pretty well. And but I was using like boom pole setup and all that kind of stuff too. So that was having to get the boom arm. It's like
getting it weighted.
It was I think it was a microphone stand. So I used a microphone stand boom. Yeah. So that way I could, because those compact down pretty far too.
I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do audio because I've got like a lav and a recorder.
He found at a thrift store.
Yeah, I found a $80 Sony recorder, brand new in the box for $5 at the thrift store. I was like, well, hey, this works out perfectly.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
That, and I've got the Rode that I was gonna try to boom. I don't even know how I'm gonna do that. I'm still piecing all this together. I got like a month to figure it out.
I told him I can hold it.
What I would do, which is what we try to do when we can, is like have a lav plus boom.
Yeah, that's trying to figure out how to make it happen.
And then
the NTG, like the NTG 4 that I got, is super like whatever you're pointing at, it's gonna get. So like I could almost get away with just mounting it on the camera as long as I'm close enough.
Right.
But we'll see.
Yeah, and then like you don't know what kind of environments that you're going to be
in.
Not a clue.
Have
zero idea what we're going to be filming.
We're supposed to do a Zoom call with the directors soon, but we just haven't had a chance. So literally, like, we don't even know exactly what they want for this video. We know what like our plan would be.
I know what I want and what I'm going to do, but
also like obviously when you get there, it's probably going to be completely different.
Right.
I'm going to make, I don't know, a 2-3 minute deliverable, whatever it is that they're looking for, but like I'm gonna
they might want longer though,
maybe, I don't know. But I'm gonna shoot this thing to aim, at least just for myself, to make like a 15-20 minute like mini documentary thing.
That'd be fun.
I'm like, when am I gonna go out of the country like this ever again?
Right, that's cool.
And yesterday Mom told us we were going to Austria before, and we were like,
yeah, we got a day in Austria before we get there.
In Germany, but Austria's
so you should be around Oktoberfest then.
Is that happening?
We'll be there in September.
But over there, it doesn't happen in October.
Oh.
I think it's in September.
That would be some pretty cool visuals too.
So maybe you'll get some good footage like that. But yeah, we went off path on the whole subject.
I don't even know what we were talking about now.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So
I feel like I'm
we'll
the
just
one who
wrap up
takes
with the pro tip. Pro tip being, for this episode, the pro tip is like work out the timeline with as many vendors as possible.
Yes.
Find out what is important to them, so that way everybody's on the same page and you're not trying to figure out everything on the go on the wedding day. So whether you're the photographer, videographer, the planner, florist, catering, go on down the line, working out the timeline together in the same conversation, at least with the planner, videographer, photographer, and of course the bride, and I would say even the mom of the bride. Go ahead and get all that settled like as soon as you can.
And if you want to be like Justin Porter, drink your protein shake.
Yeah. What razor do you use, Justin?
Oh my God.
Bye.
We didn't do our shout out to Megan yet.
Hey Megan.
Hi Megan.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We appreciate you watching or listening. If you find value from this podcast, please leave a review. It helps rank us up into the podcast algorithms. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show and share some of your project experiences, let us know, reach out, and we'll be happy to have you on the show and get you scheduled on. If you're a client and want to work on a project with us, there's contact information down below in the video description. We're looking forward to hearing from you and see what your ideas are and see how we can potentially be a fit to make your project happen. Until then, we'll catch you next episode.